you spiritual leaders from all over the world to share with you their enlightenment journey and to add eye-opening dimensions to your spiritual path. And today we have a very special guest. It's Dr. Elisa Medhus. You've probably heard of her if you're into the spiritual world because she does a lot of great work. About 12 years ago, her son took his own life. And from that point on, Elisa embarked in a very profound and eye-opening spiritual journey. She's able to communicate with her son through channeling via many renowned mediums all over the world. And the messages and information that have come through throughout those years have been incredibly profound. Erik has done so much work to help people, and he has so much information and so many messages from the other side that he shares with the world, and I find it absolutely fascinating and interesting, and I can't wait for you to watch this interview because there's so much to share. She has embarked on such an amazing journey throughout those years with the help of her son Erik, and who knows, he might pop in today. I do feel that he will, so keep on watching and find out. Enjoy. So we're here with Elisa Medhus, and I'm very excited that she's here today with us. And we have so much to talk about because she's been through a very fascinating spiritual journey as a mom, as a physician, as a human being. Hi, Elisa. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and it's an honor to be on your wonderful show. I tell you, you're talking about a ride. Yeah, it's like strap on your kidney belt, man. Hold on to your cavities because it was quite a ride since 2009.
Let's talk about it because I've also mentioned in the intro how this journey began with, unfortunately, with your Erik having taken his own life and you finding him, and from that point onward, you wanted answers. You needed answers in order to have some kind of closure, right? Do you want to start? Do you want to sort of tell us your story a little bit?
Sure. Well, of course, after seeing him, after he shot himself in the head, it's something a mother should never see. In fact, I would say that it's probably the worst thing that could happen to a human being is to lose a child. Definitely. There are no words. I don't think there's a word like widower or widow or anything like that for a parent who has lost a child. It's so tough. And we were twin flames. We are twin flames. So I found out later. So, I was so angry the next morning when I saw the earth was still rotating on its axis. What the hell? And people were on the freeway. I just didn't get it. It just didn't compute. Anyway, so it was very rough. 3 days afterwards, my father, who was from Spain, let me just preface this by saying he was not a nice man. I mean, it was a spiritual contract thing, but he was very abusive, broken bone type stuff. Some of us kids going homeless to escape, things like that. It was bad.
Oh.
So he was not a nice man, even up to the point he died. His first, and you need to know this for a very good reason. When I called him crying and my mother that Erik was dead, he goes, "Sorry, Lisa, he's going to turn to dust." That was it. That was his words of comfort. But he was a militant atheist. And so when he called in an absolute panic 3 days after Erik's death and said, "Oh my God, Elisa, I was sitting in my chair reading the Wall Street Journal and I put the paper down. There's Erik standing in the flesh in front of me." And then he morphed into his little boy self and crawled up into my lap and said in Spanish, "Things come in threes." Now, I don't know. I never did figure out what that meant. But anyway, I'm so startled. I don't know what to believe. Now, he was not going to say that to give me hope, of course. Mm-hmm. So I knew, well, that happened. Erik is not forever gone. And so that's when I started researching all sorts of things about near-death experiences, quantum physics, parallel dimensions, you name it. I mean, so many books, physics and otherwise. I read controlled studies on mediums, blah, blah, blah. Finally, I ran out of books to read, or at least ones that I could understand. And, I'd heard that a lot of people would pursue the help of a medium to get in touch with their child. And before that, I thought mediums, that's like a gypsy hunched over a crystal ball. What's going on here? But of course, I just tried it. And this woman did not know anything about me except my credit card number and my name, pretty much. And she said, "Your son is here. He said he took his life. He said he did it with this type of gun, and he was sitting at his desk and blah, blah, blah. And he's wearing this kind of like one of those baseball shirts, the 3/4 length blue sleeves and the rest of it white. And he's cursing like, has a big potty mouth." I said, "Oh yeah, that's Erik." And he's really funny. And so she, first session was about, very personal questions like why, and what could we have done differently, things like that. And then eventually, when we got those out of the way, I started asking just questions about what was death like? Did it hurt? What was crossing over like? What's the afterlife like? What are your senses and emotions like? Have they changed? The first thing, he noticed when he got over there, after he said hello to my sister Denise, he looked down and said, "Oh my God, where's my dick?" Because he was just a big beam of light. So, sorry, I don't know. You can blur that out if you want. But that's typical Erik humor. And but he was probably a little bit weirded out about that. So anyway, so as I was asking all these questions, we started getting weird things happening around the house. For example, an airsoft BB would appear at the ceiling and drop to the floor in front of us, or the deadbolt would turn and click and lock us in the house when we're about to go out and eat. Or when Papa came home, he would enter from the garage into the kitchen, and the Viking downdraft vent on the stove would go up and down once, just for like 3 days in a row. Now, glitch maybe, but we were remodeling at the time, so everything was gutted. There was no electrical power to anything in the kitchen. Or he would turn on blenders that were unplugged. He would call and leave. He would actually call on the telephone. Once he did that, and he said, "Mom, it's me, Erik, it's me." So lots of really interesting things. Now, at the same time,
was this before you started going to mediums?
I think it was concomitant with that.
Okay, because that's what normally happens. Usually when you go to mediums or psychics, it kind of opens up the portal, and then you start receiving those messages and you start feeling your loved one around you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what always happens.
Interesting. So anyway, my eldest daughter, who was like a second-year medical student at the time, she was so busy. She really didn't have time to mourn or grieve. It was very difficult for her. So she created 2 blogs, one for herself. At that time, it was called Pretty Shiny Sparkly. It was fashion, beauty, and just light in her life. She needed light in her life. And she created, she's really good on the computer, created the Channeling Erik blog for me. She said, "Mom, you need this because you heal best when you help others. And you can use this as a place for people like you who are grieving, and they need, they just need a very safe, loving place to do that." And then here comes the pranks to everybody on the blog. I mean, people get pranked all the time by Erik. I remember one of the first ones. Huh? Yeah, including you. We'll do crazy things. So like the salt and pepper shaker in the middle of a table at a restaurant will slide and fall down. Just really obvious things. Or he'd leave EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. They're very loud. For some reason,
I would like to say, sorry for interrupting, that if you watch Elisa's videos, in some of them, and if you wear headphones, you can actually hear Erik's voice as you can actually literally. I've heard it in a couple. I don't know. Have you noticed?
Some of them are so loud. I wish I had my phone in here because I'd show you, but there's one where I say, "Love you," and he goes, "Love you, Mom," just like that, really loud.
I've heard that one. That's in one of your videos. I think that was last year. You uploaded it, and you can hear it loud and clear, and it's his voice.
Oh, they're all there. Like one says pushing her, and Jamie, the medium, says he's pushing you, but you don't hear it live. Or one where I was interviewed on the radio, and the host called me a couple of days later and said, "I was just listening, and there's something on there that was not there live, and it's him going minions like that. I mean, that loud and clear." And right after that, Jamie laughs and says he's calling them minions. So, but anyway, I remember one of the first pranks was to this Irish guy. No, was he in Ireland? Yeah, Ireland. Damien. Hi, Damien, if you're there. And Erik appeared to him like really tangibly.
Really?
And said,
like full body.
Yeah, full body. And
Wow.
sometimes he appears to people without feet. I don't know why. He always likes his shoes. I always thought he wanted bigger shoes, so we always bought him a size too big. But anyway, he said, "Hey, dude, I bet you I can tell you how far away your girlfriend is." And Damien freaked out because and he didn't know who he was. He finally stumbled upon, I guess, nudged to channeling Eriks. Oh my God, that's that dude! And he said, "Okay." So the girl was in Canada at the time, and he gave them the number of kilometers, and it was just right on the mark. Apparently, he got in trouble for that. He said, "Don't be doing that to people." From the other side. So he does a lot of fun stuff. Loves to play with electronics. One medium was having a session with one of her regular sessions with one of her regulars, this guy, and he was asking about if spirits can enjoy sex from humans vicariously. Kind of strange. But anyway, just a question. And then she started to answer, and all of a sudden her phone, Siri answers. And she has an old phone. You have to hold down the button to summon Siri. And she goes, it says, "There's a sex addiction clinic 5 kilometers from your place." It's something funny.
This is crazy.
So it's always something funny. And then I wrote a book, My Son and the Afterlife, explaining part of my journey from skeptic to believer. But to be really honest with you, I didn't totally 100% believe. Even when I saw him bouncing from one side of the bed to the next at the foot of my bed, and my deceased sister Denise was on one corner, was smiling at him. Then doubt would creep in after these amazing pieces of evidence. And then maybe I was, and I figured out it's probably because I was just really afraid to believe. Because what if I did, take it on hook, line, and sinker, and then I found out it was all nonsense. I mean, that would be like losing Erik all over again, but forever and ever and ever. So it took me a long time to go from like 90% to 100%, and it took one special EVP that somebody that it was recording our interview with Jesus, which is really amazing. God, it's one of the best. Anyway,
let's just put it out there for people who don't know that through Erik, you conduct interviews with celebrities and profound people who have passed over. People like Beethoven, Jesus. Who else is it?
Kurt Cobain.
Tesla.
We just did Kurt Cobain. I mean, we do it's so many. But that's one of the things. We do world mysteries, missing children, missing adults. Basically, we started out just asking about death and the nature of love and what is God like, and just a bit of time. There's no time really. It's a linear time. It's just a human construct. So we have to have it because we have to have cause and effect to learn, for one thing. And you have to get up, eat breakfast, go to work, all that. But so we discussed a lot about that. So, but in this Jesus interview, so it's a really I want to listen to it again, actually. A year and a half afterwards, one of the blog members called me and said, "Elisa, there are voices on that thing." And that was before I really started noticing these EVPs. So, what? No, there was only me and Jane. That's it. But anyway, I listened to the timestamp, and there is definitely my son's voice. First of all, there was a guy, I don't know if anybody knows Quentin Crisp, a very flamboyant gay who wrote The Naked Civil Servant, always had his beautiful hat, his ascot, and really great guy. He thought he was going to be interviewed, so he was in first waiting on the couch, waiting in the green room. So he was just kind of hanging out watching the interview too. And so first of all, the first EVP on that was, I asked Jesus, "Are you here on the earth on the earthly plane in some form?" And you hear him clear as a bass, as day, saying, I was going to say clear as a bell, but I mixed it up with clear as day, so clear as bay. Anyway, whatever. So he said, "Yes, you hear Jesus's freaking voice on there." And how many people get to do that? And then I hear Erik saying, "Can we get him to come to breakfast?" Breakfast. He always said it like a little child. Breakfast. Can you get him to come to breakfast? I guess they had breakfast there. I guess they can have anything. He was a big breakfast guy, though. And Quentin Crisp says, I'm down with sausages, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So ha ha ha, being gay and all. So so that was really funny. And that was when I finally got to 100%.
That you were convinced and you had that validation, because I think all of us, anyone who works with the spiritual realm, there's always like that moment where you have that little doubt, right? But that's normal, because we're living a human experience and we have egos, and sometimes the ego just goes in the front.
Yes.
And our spiritual core stays behind, and that's when we start doubting things. But the universe and the divine has a way of bringing things in such a way to validate that what you're feeling, what you believe about the spiritual world is real and it's true. And I want to say,
yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
We know that you've been a physician for over 30 years, and it's very hard because physicians, doctors, scientists rely on facts and science for when it comes to their beliefs and when it comes to their core. How did you blend the two? How did you blend, the scientific and, let's say, the left brain with the right brain in order for you to be open to the spiritual experience that you were having or still having?
Well, yeah, it did make it a challenge because, not only was I raised by two militant atheists, hardcore atheists, but as a doctor, I've been taught that, if you can't perceive it with one of your senses or measure it with an instrument, it did not exist. And in retrospect, that's kind of silly because the electromagnetic spectrum, right? All the radio waves, cosmic waves, microwaves, etc., X-rays, almost nothing that you can see. There's only this tiny sliver that's called the visible range. That's where our 3D world is. That's where, we can see things. That's where matter, which is just frozen light, Einstein would say, is. And so think about a hummingbird, right? You can see it if it's perched when it is still on a flower, but you cannot see the wings when they're rapidly beating, right? Pretty much all but invisible because the frequency of the beating is so high. So, so the problem is that spirits vibrate at a much higher frequency that's well outside the upper limit of the visible range.
Right.
You can't see it. But why do we not believe it? We know we can't see radio waves, but we know they exist. We can't see the vibrational energy called love, but yet we know that exists. So, but to be honest, I did have one kind of incident when when Lucas, his younger brother, was I think 4 years old. That kind of opened things up a little bit for me because he had pneumonia, and I gave him a tepid body bath and all that stuff. And I was holding him and rocking him, and he started telling me about how he was this little girl in Jamaica, and he had this real pretty dress. And what boy is going to say that, right? And he was on a plantation, and they were having a picnic by a waterfall, and then he was twirling, and then to some song, he sang the song and everything, and then he had a seizure and fell off into the water.
Oh.
And he saw bubbles coming out of his mouth, he said. And then all of a sudden he was in a dark, warm place, a womb. And then he said, Maria, our housekeeper, our family member, the one who first found Erik, poor thing, I can't understand why she's even still wanting to be here, but was my daddy, and Papa was my mommy. So I thought, wow. So then I started reading books like Carol Bowman's Children's Past Lives. Wow, that is so amazing. We could maybe live forever. So that was the first inkling I got that we were eternal beings.
And now, since you've had all this experience and you had that traumatic event in your life, and you are open now and you are aware of what's happening on the other side of the veil, are you able to communicate with Erik without the help of mediums now? Aside of leave the pranks aside.
not like you can, but now we have Atlantis Scalar. We use Scalar Energy to help people. Mm-hmm. And one of the many things we do is I have this one service Erik tells me what to do. He said, write this script, but I have to use dowsing rods and scalar field and Herkimer diamonds and all sorts of stuff. And sometimes it comes to me, and then I say, "Is this right? What I'm thinking?" And yes or no with the dowsing rods. But sometimes I say, "Okay, does it start with a noun or does it start with a vowel? Oh, please let it be a vowel because it's so much easier." And then he'll spell out things for me. But so he'll tell me like one was increasing the psychic gifts to the maximum, and he'll tell me the frequency set. Did we start with 1.0? After that, did we go to 1.05? Did we go to 1.1? And so I did that on myself, and I did awakening Kundalini service that we do, and decalcifying the pineal, opening up crown chakra, and the opening third eye, and activating DNA. And so I have been, because of that, been able to pick up a lot more, and my dreams have been very crazy too. But I've always been more clear cognizant than anything else, to tell you the truth. I don't, sometimes I'll hear him right here behind my ear, but sometimes, I rarely see him. Yeah.
Do any other of your family members have experiences with him? Do they feel him? Do they talk to him?
Yeah. My husband has had many really lucid dreams with him, especially right afterwards. And I remember Annika. I was sitting in the car waiting for her to come in front of the car in the garage, and she said, "Erik's sitting shotgun." So she has seen him, and my kids have seen my sister Denise even before Erik even died. And Maria also is very gifted. She always feels Erik going like this to her hair, and she has seen him, and she has seen my sister Denise kind of sitting in the chair in the den with her legs swung over across the armrest, and things like that. So there's still out there.
It's interesting that you said that Maria feels this touching on the top of the head, because that's usually how guardian angels communicate with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but what they do is that feeling, that tingly feeling, like someone's lightly with your hair, or that you have like maybe a bug on your hair or like a cobweb. That is definitely a sign from your guardian angels, and your angels saying that I'm here, I'm with you. And also touching of the leg, like when you feel that. Like the changing of the temperature of your leg as well. I'm having goosebumps right now. I'm feeling Erik a lot. Like before, while you were talking, he was being really silly behind me.
Yeah, and
he was pretending that he was doing stand-up.
But really?
He was like this and going back and forth. Like,
oh, he's a big pacer too, by the way. And on that thing, I heard him pacing constantly.
Interesting.
So I guess they keep a lot of their personality, I think, probably mostly to comfort us, if nothing else.
They do, because it takes a long time for them to get to the ascendant level that they need to sort of like shed human experience. So it might take, and as you said, that time here is linear, but whereas over there is no time. There is no concept of time. And I believe, and from what I've seen and through my experience, it's that they keep that personality, especially when they show up to us, because that's their way of saying, I'm here. It doesn't, but it takes, let's say your dad was not a very good person. Has he passed on?
Yes. Thank God. Oh, I squealed with delight. I'm sorry, but he was old and he was in a lot of pain.
But for instance, your dad would show up like in a reading, through a medium. He would show up still, this mean-spirited, rough guy that he was, because he can't shed that so easily on the other side. They still, it's automatic. It's just, how children in psychology, like as soon as you visit your mom, you're an adult and you visit your mom, and you kind of feel like you regress and you're like a teenager when you're around your mom's house.
Yeah.
A lot of people have that, they'll just put their feet on the couch. They'll be messy. They'll be sloppy. Why do we do that? That's the psychological factors. Just because as soon as we go into a familiar environment, we go to our family home, it's instinctively we turn into that child or that teenager. Same applies with them, with the spirits. As soon as they come into this world, instinctively, they turn into who they were in this lifetime.
That's interesting. When Jamie first channeled my father, we were talking for a while, and I said, "God, he's kind of a dick." Like that. So yeah, but he's gone past that. And Erik also, I asked him with the dowsing rods, what role he had now. And that's when I really had to spell things out. Like, okay, so it's a master angel, he spelled out. I said, oh, I didn't know there was such a thing. And he said, okay, what are you going to be next? So I said, where are you going to stop? But no, he's going to be an archangel. I said, when? And he gave me the date, September 21st, 2021. And they go, wow, that's your actual birthday. That's weird. So, but apparently there's a lot of archangels. I looked at this compendium of all known angels and archangels, and there's like 500 of them or something. So I said, well, what are you going to call yourself? Archangel Erik. But he has been much more powerful, I guess, since he ascended to that point, and probably will be even more powerful as an archangel for healing and for reaching people and working on a more global level. He has his actual angelic project that he's in charge of. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's called Project Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Gaia as in Earth.
Yeah, and it's mostly to help animals. And he actually is a couple of people's guardian angel. But they always have two then, because you're born with a guardian angel, but he steps in. Exactly. If he spawned to that person, there's been two people so far, and he's had other lives with them. It's like, I'm gonna tag team with Veronica or whatever. Mine is Veronica, and she's in charge of Project Victory Earth, and then Arabelle is Project Equality, I think. And
are these your angels or your guides?
Pardon me?
Are these your angels or your guides?
No, they're just other people's guardian angels. And Arabelle is Project USA. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have to spell out all these things because a lot of people, we offer a thing to know your guardian angel name or buy somebody an e-gift like your guardian angel name thing, or a hard copy even. And so I don't know where I was going with that. But, so anyway, he's going to have a lot more power in the future. So
it's interesting though that although he's ascended, that he's able to still, or he's allowed to still come through. And I guess it's because he has a mission, and that mission is to teach the world, heal the world, and really open up the collective consciousness, right?
Yeah, there's no.
Otherwise, they're not really allowed if they're ascended.
There's no. He said that we can ask him now, but there's no you're not allowed and they're blocked. There's complete free will on both sides of the veil. Absolute. They can come and go as they want. Now, there's some things that, like when he visited Damien, you shouldn't have done that kind of thing. But he'll do it, and he can do it again if he wanted to. So
he said to me, they are allowed, but there are caveats. So they are allowed to do it, but at certain points and for certain reasons. It's not like they can pop in and out whenever they want. So there is some kind of prepping for that. Yeah.
Right. They just suggest, well, you probably shouldn't do this, or that's kind of an overarching, it's like spiritual ethics basically for them. But, people can reach ethics over there just like they can over here.
Can I ask you something? Because you're his mom and you know him. Why is he showing up with a black wig, like a long black wig, and he kind of looks like that little scary girl from the Japanese movie The Ring?
Oh, I don't know.
And he's just standing right in front of me, and he's wearing a wig, and I don't know what he's doing. He's playing around for sure, but it's definitely a message. I don't know. Does that mean anything?
Something about change, maybe. I can change the way I, there are no rules to what I can change myself into as far as what I do, how I appear, etc. I don't know. Ask him.
It's about a song. I just asked him. He said it's a song. He's
Marley, maybe?
It's like a hard rock and roll song that he's trying, and the lyrics of that song are quite important.
Well, he liked Rush, he liked AC/DC, he liked Led Zeppelin.
I love
Jimi Hendrix. Does he look like Bob Marley?
No, not at all. He looks more like Ozzy Osbourne. Like when he was younger.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, okay, he liked that too.
Okay, when he was younger,
why did he rat heads off or bird heads off, please, Erik?
He's so funny because he's always around me. There's a lot of energy. Like he's moving around. He's here behind me. He's playing around. He's enjoying this.
Oh, yeah. He did like Crazy Train. He played Crazy Train, palm muting Crazy Train, Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train all the time on his guitar.
Interesting, because before we went on, I saw him playing with the guitar. He was playing on a guitar. He was trying, like, he was just, and then I was like, okay, why are you showing me this? And then he showed up like a little, like, you know, with a plaid shirt. And so he's like, it's like he's playing different roles and he's playing around. It's really fun because I'm like paying attention to you, but at the same time, there's so much going on around me at the moment.
Oh my God. I know we had this lecture series, Professor Erik's Virtual Classroom. And it starts out with Journey of the Souls, and we do it with Renuka, a medium in India. And he always dresses up like a professor, you know, the pipe, you know.
Oh, he's so funny. I feel like he liked to dress up. Like he liked to take like role playing and to do things like that. And also another thing that he's telling me, or I feel, you see the FT behind me?
Yeah.
Right? He's going, like, he's kind of like from the beginning, he kind of said that that's going to be his prank, that one of them is going to go off.
Oh boy.
So let's see if that happens. But that's what he's telling me. So let's see if it's going to happen now or later. We'll see.
Who knows? But sometimes he'll appear as like an orb that crosses either the person, one of our faces. Like one, it was like a red orb floating right in front of my face.
Oh, wow.
And that's cool.
We'll see. Well, we'll see on the replay what comes out. That's really interesting. Right. So I wanted to ask you, how has this spiritual journey helped you deal with the idea of mortality and, of course, with grief?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not afraid of death anymore. I was not really all that afraid of death. I've seen so much of it in my life.
As a doctor, obviously.
Yeah, terminal patients and the like. But there's just no mystery. It's just like it's walking through a revolving door, you know, basically. Now, grief, of course, I still miss him. So the tangible, the hugs, we were very close. The physical, I mean, that will never go away. I mean, I just have got to find a new normal.
I think the hardest part with grief is that as spiritual as you may be, or even if you're a psychic medium and you are the best psychic medium in the world, what you do miss is that physical connection. Yes, you do have that connection, but it's on their terms, not on yours. And we're kind of used to, on this side, on the physical realm, to be able to see, communicate, and be around people that we love on our terms. And now we have no control. Absolute no control. Is up to them.
Yeah,
and I understand the whole journey, and with YouTube and book writing, and you've also appeared on TV, as far as I know, and on radio shows. Do you feel that this has have you been able to reach out and touch a lot of people? Have you, what are the comments? What's the feedback regarding what you do?
Well,
you get good and bad.
Yeah, I get everything. I don't know, you know, I've lived sort of a hermit-like life. This little old lady on her laptop or in her she shed working on Atlanta Scalar stuff, and it's only when somebody says, somebody wrote this comment, like, and this is YouTube, that the most evil woman on the internet, like I'm exploiting Erik for money, which of course I don't. I gave up a very good physician salary to do this. And so, you know, it's like, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on what I do and have not made a penny. I've not lost. It's just, I feel like I'm paying for his college education and his wedding and all that stuff. So, well, it's a pretty good wedding, is all I can say. It's a pretty fancy one. But I, of course, I get good stuff too. But it's a little weird, like when we have, you know, sometimes the medium will want to have a channeling Erik event in my home, in Erik's home, and you know, I offer it because, you know, I want the ticket prices. I don't get money from it, of course, naturally. It all goes to them and their travel experiences and all that. And but I want them to not have to pay for a venue to make the ticket prices go up. And the people file in, oh God, so many. And it's like, it's a little overwhelming. I hear them saying, oh my God, they come to the front door right there in front of me. And there's where she films her YouTubes. It's like, and they just come up to me, oh my gosh, you can't imagine, blah, 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 blah. It's so much attention. And I just want to recoil because, you know, I'm just not used to that level of attention. We can imagine the attention I got as a child, but that is probably one of the hardest things, to have because I just see that I'm a facilitator. That's all I'm his mom. I'm helping him help others. And of course, I love that we help others, but I don't want all that attention on me. I just don't like it at all. I'm so grateful, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it's a lot for a broken little woman to handle.
It's not I don't see you as a broken little woman at all. I see you as a very, very strong and powerful woman, actually. And I think it is quite a lot for you to handle, that's for sure. But on the other hand, you're doing so much good, and you're putting out so much interesting and profound information and messages that the world needs to hear. And I think eventually more and more people are going to hear our voices. That's why I have Mystic Voices, because it's about our spiritual voices. They have to be heard. If you want to move on, if you want to do something about the life that you chose, we all chose our life.
That's
It's
true.
a blueprint. So we have to do something about it. We can't just sit there and whine and bitch.
I know. Next time I'm getting the cliff notes, girl. I'm sure you have probably had your fair share of haters too. I mean, everybody does.
Tarot, it's the devil's work, and what you're doing is summoning the devil and like bad entity. I'm like, no, seriously, come on. We're in the 2021s now. It's a different world, and tarot is just a piece of paper that is used as divination tool. That's about it. Talking to spirits and talking to deceased loved ones. Yeah, it will be convenient to you. And I'm sorry to say this, if you lose someone and then you need to contact them. And that's when usually people switch. They become from haters to explorers, exploring the spiritual side.
Well, some of them, not all of them, though.
I'm
some
tolerant.
of them just mire in their grief and become bitter and angry, and but I hope that they don't do that, because the other choice is there's so much beauty in that other choice. But of course, we and other light workers like us, we get the good and we get the bad. But I've heard somebody say, and I don't know where this quote comes from, but when the light shines brighter, the dark reacts violently. And I think that's what we see in our case. Who wrote that? Anybody who knows that? Whose quote that?
Yeah, please comment below. Anyone who knows who said that quote. Oh, that's a very interesting quote, actually.
Yeah.
But it's true. And it's especially now with everything that's going on in the world the last year, it's quite interesting how you see. I think you don't need to be an intuitive or a psychic to feel it, but there is a huge shift right now. And a shift in the collective, a shift in the consciousness and collective consciousness, and also on how people see themselves. They see that a lot of people have started being detached to material things.
Yes. I don't give a about material things I never have been, except when I was really young and I'm making money as a doctor. I want a nice watch, but now I don't care. I don't do my nail, that's for sure. So much to the chagrin of my daughters, and I have another daughter just like me that just does not care. But we're in the age of Aquarius. We're in the age of Aquarius. We're hopefully transitioning from polarity or contrast consciousness, where we survive through survival of the fittest and competition, to unity consciousness, where we survive by cooperation and collaboration. And we needed the contrast consciousness, obviously, to grow and to really reap the benefits of the human experience. But now, hopefully, it's going to be different.
And I think it's part of it is because people realize that death is unpredictable, unexpected. And we've seen that now in 2020, 21, with everything going on. We've seen how the line of life can be cut short.
Yes.
Just like that. And I think that, along with the fact that we had to slow down as a community, as a collective, we had to slow down, we had to retreat. And that's when people just had the time finally to look inwards and see, who am I? What am I? Why do I have these people around me? What value do I give them? What value do they give me? And this is shifting. And I think what we're going to see now is going to accelerate what we felt it's going to go so fast that those who are just, the late bloomers, the ones who are waking up now, are going to have a hard time following this trend, this energetic trend. And I think it's fascinating because more and more people are going to have the experience that you're having, I'm having, where suddenly the veil is dropped and you realize that there is no veil. There is no other side. It's a little bit like Alice in Wonderland, it's like
It is. That's a really good metaphor.
I love Alice in Wonderland.
That's amazing. And yes, I think as light workers, it's our job. Well, maybe it's not our job, but it'd be nice if we could help these people find their way a little through the jungle with gun and camera, to get to the other side, so to speak.
That's true.
But I'm going to tell when I was thinking about how the dark reacts violently. When I started doing this Atlantic Scalar thing, of course I have a prayer of protection that I've used with Erik's, what we call the Erik board. It's kind of like a Ouija board with a lot of curse words on it. And so it's like a paragraph, but I learned from Jamie Butler that I could just substitute a word. So I just said apples. Okay. So I have this prayer called apples. But so I used that when I was helping get rid of negative entities and closing portals for people and all that. And I noticed that I would get sick, still nauseated. I didn't realize until later. And my body racked in pain every time I was doing something like that. And then I'd go take a bath and I'd drain the water and it would be black scum. And I said, holy crap, the negative entities, they're transferring to me. So I had to tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak. And now it's a 19-page prayer. Because I have to do everything, like not allow them to come in through inlets of water and mix of solids and water and solids and this cables and bubble, and merge with, oh God, it's just crazy what you have to do but so they've gotten angrier and angrier at me, these negative entities, because of the work I'm doing now. One time I picked up my dowsing rods, just asked a question in the kitchen, but for 5 seconds I forgot to say apples. Well, that night, this huge black blob with red glowing eyes was darting about my bedroom, and it would come up right into my face to try to scare me. And of course, I was scared. Yeah. That's exactly what they want, because they feed on fear and all that, all negative energy. But then so Erik had to clean my energy the next day. But then on the radio show, there was an EVP from one of the negative entities saying, well, he actually said the entire word, F you, like that, in the creepy voice.
That is so scary.
They are really pissed at me, and, what can I do?
Yeah, protect yourself and ground yourself. And also, if you like crystals and believe in crystals, use them, because they do, like I wear them every time I do readings, or I know spirits are going to come through. I wear my crystals because it's one way of sort of like grounding myself and protecting myself. And I pray and I do all the building and stuff like that. But
it's super important, you're right. My sister gave me this beautiful tourmaline necklace the other day, and it's got such a beautiful silver
little like knots around.
Yeah, I love it, from bespangled or something. And she said that will protect me.
Yeah, tourmaline, definitely. I have it around me as well. And if you put it as well in the corners of your house, especially the corners that you feel that are more negative, get like bigger stones. You don't have to splash, too much money on it, but just get a little bit of bigger stones, especially the ones that are like pyramids, and just put them in the corners. And because that's where negative entities go, and spirits, they hide in corners. They do. And that's why you have to smudge. And I smudge and I sage the corners every time I have readings, every time I have people around, and when they go.
Good. What y'all need to do is first play the 4096 megahertz. I think it's megahertz.
Right.
Tone everywhere, and then erase all the energy with sage. That really clears the energy. It doesn't really. Then spray or smudge with Palo Santo.
Yes.
And then go about and do the 528 hertz tone. And that's your 4-point sequence. You can also just tell them, get the F out of here, and what Erik has me do, and it's represented by the phrase blue flame. I have to call upon. Here it is. They like adverbs. I will tell you that. It's with, and this is all scripted out, spelled letter for letter for me. It's with great love, respect, and gratitude. Write this down, guys. That I call upon Archangel Michael to burn all negative entities in and around my energy and my space or my home, whatever, in his blue fire flame of justice. And that works. And I have to do that before I start people's sessions on the scalar, in the scalar field, because, otherwise they will mess with my dowsing rods. They will paralyze them. They will give me the wrong frequency to go up to next. And it's just
they'll play all sorts.
And it's just free and easy once you burn it. I smell barbecue. So it's awesome.
It's true. And you have to shield yourself, especially you're doing this work, and you know that, Erik is around, and also the fact that because Erik is always around, they don't like that.
Oh, really? I never thought about that.
No, because he's passing on information from the source, he comes from the light, right? And they don't want that. They want you to go towards the dark. So it's sort of like a little war right now. Erik just said, I got your back, Mom. It's all right. Yeah. One thing that is important for him is that you're safe and shielded. That's what he's saying. He doesn't worry about you in general. He knows you're strong. He knows that you've got your goals, and you have a plan, and he's also telling me you have a long life ahead of you anyways. So,
God, really? Oh, God. No, I'm kidding.
But what he's saying is that he worries about what these negative energies and low vibrations can do to you.
Yeah.
That is what worries him. And he's
I feel myself wrapped in golden shield of protection, impenetrable to, I say all sorts of things to, and so now it's gotten much easier. I've learned so much. Before, Palo Santo everywhere, and I had to wear a respirator and stuff. Oh, God. And my eyes would get all red. And I even developed a little pneumonia type infiltrate from all this.
That's the energy. Elisa, that's the energy. Yeah. It can make you physically sick. It can make you. I do a live show on Mondays, and if you want, you can join. I would love that. Oh, awesome! Because I have a panel, and also callers call in with their questions, or they type in their questions in the chat. So last Monday, one of my subscribers called in, and she said she wanted to contact her mom who had deceased, but I wasn't ready for that reading. I was really not ready. Usually there's a whole little ceremony, a little thing that I do. I light my candle, I pray, I meditate, and I protect myself. Like I surround myself with white light before I do the reading, and I hadn't done all that. And her mom, her aunt, her uncle, they all came through. And I was just channeling. And then, Elisa, for 2 days, I was feeling I felt like I had the flu. Oh, and I really had to sort of do a lot of cleansing work to get it off. I'm fine now, but today's the first day that I'm feeling better.
Oh, that's awful. So, well, Himalayan salt baths, also pink Himalayan salt. They were great.
Epsom salts too help.
Oh, yeah, they do. Dr. Teals. Another thing that Erik told me to do is burn in certain rooms. He pointed out to me salt, with any kind of salt, really. I like Himalayan salt with rubbing alcohol. Make sure it's heat flame proof, and to burn it. And when I first did that, I was left with this brown crust on the salt. So I dumped it out and kept doing it until there was no more brown on it. So it's cool.
That's a very good tip. That's a very good tip. It applies with everything, even with cards. When you cleanse your cards, whether it's tarot or normal playing cards, for instance, there is a procedure that you do to cleanse your cards, except for saging.
Really? What do you do?
And then what you do is you pick 5 random cards, and then if they're all reversed, or most of them are reversed, you know that they're still haven't been cleansed.
Oh, interesting. How do you cleanse them?
Sorry?
Do you cleanse them by smudging them or what?
Yes, I cleanse them by smudging them. I always put my amethyst and quartz on them, and then when there's a full moon, I put them outside on a full moon, underneath the moonlight, and they are super charged afterwards. Like the readings I have after I've charged, everything, crystals and cards. It's crazy.
That's amazing. Well, Erik at first had me, anytime I get a new crystal, he has me put it on the receiver of the Scalar Energy machine, this transmitter and receiver, at 585.85 hertz or something like that for 14 minutes, and it supercharges them. And then every 5 weeks, he told me to get everything out in the sun for 8 hours. I mean, all the scalar machines, everything, all the cables. So then I happened to ask him, because you're not going to receive unless you ask. So I said, can I use something else? And it came out to be UV light. So I got these UV lights, just, every whatever weeks, just recharging, just hanging over all the crystals, the scalar machine, my big amethyst geodes that I use. So
it's incredible, though, how much these little things, these little stones and gems, how much energy comes off of them and how powerful they can be. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't, 10 years ago, I didn't really believe in crystals. I wasn't into this I always thought new age crap. But honestly, they're my little lifesavers.
They are. I mean, I didn't believe them either, but no, I definitely believe. When I first started, this medium Raylene was at, I think she was hosting something here in my home, and she was looking for showing me how to find portals. Like, what are portals? Anyway, she explained, and she went around closing it was a Swiss cheese operation here, closing a bunch of portals. Then she went outside, and she found a portal near where this old, we called the grandfather tree, this old water oak had been cut down. And that's a big one. Said I had to bury a big giant thing of tourmaline under there. But it's really interesting because I thought before, wow, because not that long ago, there was a cute little eastern screech owl just hanging off the branch of the tree next to it. And we could just go pet it. It was docile. And then the next day it was dead. And she said, oh, there's a lot of Native American mojo, bad stuff that that's sacrifices, ancient burial grounds, etc. So, but going back to the negative entities, one thing I do have to fight them with is when we order a consult from Master Angel Erik. That's on the Scalar site too, and they don't want people to know. One of them is, and it's trivial, but some people actually need to know their guardian angel name, not just curiosity, but they need to know that they're part of these. It's always the ones who are part of these big projects, and especially Earth angels. And they don't want me to say yes to that. They don't want Erik to say yes. And I keep saying, I have 2 other prayers, cease and desist and release. And pepperoni is another one. I'm going to have to try a dish of apples and pepperoni one day. But anyway, so they don't want them to have certain services. So they will fight me, and I have to just really be insistent. So, and I am, Mama Bear will reign supreme.
They can fight all they want. I mean, it's going to be a battle, but you'll win. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So, good. And the light always wins. So
there we go.
It is as it is. Well, before we go, I would love it if you shared with people watching, with the viewers, a little bit about your YouTube channel. What should they expect? What do you upload? What's the content? And and about a little bit about your books as well, which I will link everything below.
Oh, okay. Well, I have 2 YouTube channels now. The Channeling Erik one is just a big mix. Early on, if you go to the beginning, it's all about general stuff about, spiritual stuff. And then mixed in, we have celebrity interviews. Like we just did Kurt Cobain. We did Dustin Diamond Screech from Saved by the Bell the other day.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's up yet, but and we do world mysteries, like about the pyramids, what's under the Sphinx paw, things, just Anunnaki stuff, stuff about reptilians. We interviewed a reptilian. We interviewed tall whites. That's a 3-part series. We interviewed a Bigfoot. There's not just one. There's 2. There's more than, so they're big feet. And so we interviewed, and small grays, a lot of really cool stuff. And then on the Atlanta Scalar, we just started that. So we just interviewed one of the first people I did portal work on. She contacted me because her friend took a selfie of them on Halloween. And when she turned it to monochrome, there's this hideous negative entity with dark circles and it's like right over her shoulder. It's on the atlantiscalar.com website if you want to see it. So we interviewed her because I like, oh my God, Erik, we're going to stay up all night and we're going to get rid of this right now for this young girl, because she was so scared.
Oh.
And after that, she said, it's like a cloud lifted off. The interview is fascinating. Plus, since we closed all the bad portals, we also opened up the good portals, not only in an energy body, but a home, etc. And, trauma will open up holes in your energy, right, and it will close the good stuff so that you don't get the abundance and, of any health, wealth, love, creativity. And so, and also we force the negative entities into the light. And we also seal the ground in cases like bad mojo, like in my backyard. And and earthbound spirits are often in people's homes if they're on bad land, because there's so many open portals, so many negative entities. Sometimes it'll drive people to suicide, and they'll stay in the earthly plane, or it'll drive somebody to murder, a person. So that murdered person stays. So we get rid of the earthbound spirits, seal the land, and all that stuff. Well, so she felt like completely different within a couple of days. And since it opened up closed portals, a distant relative out of the blue, for no reason, gave her, here's a check, $75,000 freaking dollars. It's like, what? And it couldn't have come at a better time. And her finances are better. Everything is just so much better. It's just surreal how it works. I just still can't understand how dowsing rods over
it's hard for everyone, even for anyone who does this. It's hard because it's nothing concrete. We're so used to having concrete and facts, and and it's you describe it, you feel it, but how do you show it?
No,
that's the problem.
But scalar energy is so helpful, because scalar energy is helical energy. So it's helical in shape, and it never degrades over distance. It's not part of the electromagnetic spectrum. It's the same energy as healers, Reiki masters use. It's the same energy of our thoughts. It's the same thing. It's starlight. So it carries the information about this person and my intent for them to that person to get the job done. Whether it's, now we're starting to do things like pain relief, weight optimization, sleep optimization. We got that. We're in beta testing for that. Increased physical and mental energy. We're going to do diabetes 1, diabetes 2, hormone balancing. We got a PTSD. So we got a lot of things that we're calling for volunteers to test some of these things as he writes the script for them. He just gave me a script for social anxiety, and I'm going to call out for volunteers for that. And then the next will be, because I guess it's different to him. I had to do 2 separate type things for general anxiety, other types of anxiety. So anyway, and here it is. Here it is. Typical.
There you go, everyone. Here it is.
Frequencies for general anxiety. I have a moniker, Forever Calm, that I have to say, that represents all of this. The frequency sequence, and it's a long prayer. And then
is that all that on your website?
Yeah, but this is not
Scalar.
And we had age reversal. I did that on my ass. I'm going to see if it works, because it's age reversal, biochemistry, physiology, organ rejuvenation, physical appearance. And it takes like a month to manifest. So we'll see. And I'm going to check my cholesterol, check my blood pressure, see if all those old age diseases go away.
I'm going to give it a go, and I'm going to let you know.
Works my neck pain that I've had for 2 years is gone. Oh. And so is my back. The book he really wrote, My Life After Death, a memoir from heaven. That's all channeled by Jamie Butler. And I just typed in everything word for word. The foreword explains a lot about who Erik was then. And then the rest, it's like, it is, the first 3 chapters was very difficult for me, because there was some graphic stuff that I really did not know about Erik's death. So, but then after that, it's just really a beautiful book. If you look at Amazon, it's not only the best book I've ever read in this genre, it's the best book I have ever read. You will cry, you will laugh, you will get pranked probably if you read it. He almost always does.
But don't be afraid. He means well. He pranks people, but he means well. And there you have it. You have to read this book.
It's never scary, ever.
Never
You don't
scary.
wake up and there's his face. Boom.
I saw his face too once 2 years ago. I was showering. He was in the shower. I was like, okay. But I know spirits come in when you shower because that's the time that you relax and you let go of your thoughts. And that's the easiest way for them to communicate with you and just show you that they're there. And I was in the shower and I could see, like, literally through the glass door, I could see his face. Like,
that's cool. That's him as a little kid.
Oh,
Pleiadian eyes, huh?
Oh, such a beautiful little boy.
Mwah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Elisa. I really appreciate it. I would love for it if you can come and join our live show as well, so people can ask you real-time questions. Maybe we can do a little, I can do a little bit of channeling with Erik and get him in and maybe answer some questions as well with your help. Let's see how it, let's see how it goes. I'm really honored and happy that, you agreed to do this.
Glad. Great interviewer. So I thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Till next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
It's huge. It's not that huge. Bye.